Welcome back. It's been a month without a weekly spark, and I actually wanted to spend some time today before filming kind of getting back into the habit, as it were. So I started doing some pages that are going to go into my 3-ring binder. Inexpensive pleather. I got it off Amazon, but I've cut up a bunch of really cheap watercolor paper that was from a pad, literally got at Walmart, and some of this yummy fiber paper, some toned pastel paper, even some ledger paper, so nothing is in an assorted order right now. It's just the order I put it in the book. But I did my first page with this really cool image from an antiques magazine. So I'm sorry, I don't know the artist to credit, and I haven't yet stopped to do a Google reverse image search. But also this kind of color wheel thing from an old textbook. So really just to break the ice and to have some time to enjoy the process and get some of the materials back out. With the Weekly Spark, I had 3 themes. I had October, November, and December, and those were going to be vessels, butterflies, and the goddess figure. And the goddess is meaning this figure that I use quite often, this real simplified feminine form, loosely inspired by the Nile goddess and the Cycladic carvings. So of those 3, I decided to let butterflies go because they felt like they didn't quite match the season, and the original themes for the Weekly Spark this year weren't aligned with the seasons, but if I had to pick one of those 3 to let go of, I was going to let go of butterfly for now. So in working with the vessel, to me, it all comes back to ancient Greek pottery. From teaching art history, from loving art history, from working in clay, being a ceramic artist. So I decided that, I put a lot of stuff on Pinterest about these guys because they're fascinating in the way the form follows function. For example, this guy is a hydra. So hydra, yes, that would be water. So the 2 handles for carrying because they're large and extremely heavy, and then this one on the top for pouring. So you could hold it, literally cradle the bottom of the jug in your other hand and balance it while you poured it. This is a kylix, so that is a drinking cup, very shallow and very wide open. So the decorations would be on the inside, and you would see them when you held this up by both handles and took a sip. Very much kind of a ritual, hospitality kind of offering cup. The classic amphora, 2 handles, wide mouth because it would be used for storing things, so you'd be able to reach into that with a ladle or something. I chose to look at the amphora that is pointed on the base, because these would literally be used in shipping materials, and they would lean over the side of the boat and drop the pointed end into the sand. The ceramic vessel would not break, and it would be speared upright in the soft sand, waiting for the next crew to pick up the rest of the merchandise that was being unloaded. So I just love this shape. This was my test print. I've since had to clean up some of the lines that were a little wonky, but I did that in, where did I put it? Oh, right here. Carved it in lino, this easy carve stuff. And so I like this as an outline because then I can do different designs inside. Greek pottery has so many stages of decoration, from the Minoan work that had spirals and octopus and sea creatures and really fanciful illustrations from the Mediterranean, to the Greek geometric style, to the red figure and black figure, which often illustrated myths, the red and black referring to the colors of the slip and engobe that were used in those decorations. I think that on the back of this easy carve, one thing I love about it is getting a twofer. I'm just going to take the background off this, so I'll have this as a solid thing to print, because how fun would it be to, print it in black and then draw on it with a white Posca marker pen or something. So this is still a work in progress. The next video might actually be a little carving demo. I've always wanted to do some carving things for you as tools or elements that you can use in your art journal page. So there might be some of that coming up in the remainder of this year. I started this page in my 3-ring binder notebook, and the camera wasn't turned on. You know, it was the first time back in the studio, and the dog was chewing on things, and luckily it was her bone and not, you know, a paintbrush. And so this is not done yet. I want to go back in with some blue inside the vase to echo the blue of this wave process. So I'm going to revisit some of these motifs and do another page. In a way, they'll be kind of partners. Having said that, I think that maybe I'll do it on the back so that the two can be... Nah, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do a page. All right, so this one goes in here. Not done yet, but put it safely out of the way. Here's my next piece of cheap watercolor paper. So I'm taping the corners down. I'm working on a piece of cardstock just to be my, you know, blotter for any mess, for anything that goes off the page. Yes, this is going to mean that there are tiny little white spots on the corners of my pages. If that really bothers you, you can address that later. But when it's a loose paper, I think it helps to have it held down to something. So that color palette was earthy tones. I want to do something different in this one. Well, maybe they'll be unified by a little yellow oxide. All different water-soluble things, both the Faber Castell gelatos to the distressed crayons, and then just water on my finger. do like that kind of pink in there. So I'm going to just stamp my vase stamp with my, it's a stone gray, so it's going to read as black. If I were doing a lot of prints, I would break out the brayers and printing ink. Sometimes I'll even just use acrylic and a brayer if I have, if I want to print something in a lighter color. But for this and this dark and just doing the one off, I know this is going to work okay to give me the vessel. I put it there because that was trying to overlap my least favorite part color-wise. Because my least favorite part is kind of in here, like where the neck is. Don't love this green that shows up right there, but that might... Now that the vessel is placed... you know, kind of get changed. The gold is really kind of creamy and nice. I like that. Great. Now, inside the vessel, we need to do something different inside the vessel. I love this stencil from Stencil Girls with the Stencil Girl with the really classic Greek key designs, which is why, you know, I use them as borders, two of them together on this page. So I think that this one with this kind of plant form inside is too big. So I think I have to skip that one on here. I would like to, you know, do some marks in the background, but then do something else totally different on the vase. So I'm thinking I should flip through some stencils, huh? Well, hang on. Distress Oxide Stamp Pad in Rusty Hinge. Let's break up this left side. If that's dark enough to show up. No, it doesn't really show up. I'm gonna have to go a color darker then. That still doesn't even really show up. All right. Next plan. This I might try and spray. Oh boy, that's going to be a mess. That's cool. That's cool. It didn't give me a lot on the bottom where I had the lighter colors, so there wasn't as much contrast. But I'm happy with the apple and the pomegranate up above. And I didn't get very much at all on the vase itself. So that means I can go on to do something else on the vase. That's a kind of a shame, but that's okay. We're gonna roll with it. Somewhere out on my desk is my labyrinth stencil. So these are the small stamp pads, archival ink, so they're not going to be messed up with water. Sorry, couldn't finish my thought. Oh, and that peeled off some paint. That's not bad at all. That doesn't bother me. In fact, I wonder if it's too late to sgraffito. Definitely not done. It definitely needs more. But this area I like. This area I like. So this is fine being subtle and kind of a rest, so this needs something. And right now the vase is just floating. So let's look at the stencils again. Trying to be really heavy on the edges and then go lightly over the vessel itself. That helps tie the vessel into the page, but we're still not quite there. Nice thing about working on this cardstock as my background is that I can just go ahead and use it like a palette. Not a problem there. I think I want something kind of vertical on the left-hand side now. So I'm going to tear a piece of text. I can't help myself. I got to do it. Have to put a little border stripe in. Crooked. There, cover up those corners. Let's see if I've got a clean piece of paper so we can, nope. Yep. There we go. How's that? I'm happy with that for just a page playing in the journal. It might be fun here on the vein of this leaf if there was a word I wanted to write. but I'm not going to overthink that. Splashes of water, just trying to mop them up. A lot of different water-soluble materials on this one. They were great fun. They were pretty immediate. You saw me grab a Stabilo All pencil just to make sure that that line on the edge of the stencil came across as, you know, a legible line. But yeah, I like the vessel as a symbol for so many things, since it is a container, you know, a symbol for the soul, not least among those different levels of meaning. So that is, welcome back, our first episode of the Weekly Spark for this month. I know that, you know, last week's episode was really just a talking head video, so maybe there will be a bonus and I'll try and do some carving this video, but using the stamp and showing different applications and playing around with it, I like it. I like it. It's very high contrast with these intense colors and then this pastel green, which is not really my norm. So that really stands out, and I find that kind of interesting. That's kind of fun to play with. So 2 very different pages, granted not totally complete. Some similarities because that was what was on my mind today. But as always, if you want to see more videos, go ahead and like and subscribe. That does help the algorithm and help the channel if you're so inclined to do so. But for now, I'll go try and scrub some of that off my hands, and I will leave you until next week, where there will be another episode of Weekly Spark. So, like, subscribe, thumbs up, all the YouTube things, and until then, have a great week.